If you're watching this, you already did the hard part. Congratulations. You decided. Maybe not out loud, and maybe you haven't told anybody yet, but somewhere deep within your soul, the question already got answered. And that's why you're here instead of scrolling past. So let me talk to you like a guy that's already made the call, because you are one. I'm Rico. I left. I built a life in Latin America that the man I used to be would never even think was possible. And I'm going to tell you the truth about how this actually goes because the people selling you stuff, selling you the dream, they don't make money by telling you the truth. I don't need your money, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Here's the first thing, and it's the thing that almost nobody gets right. The move is not the hard part, and I mean that. The logistics, the paperwork, the flights, the banking, the housing, the insurance, all of it. It's simple. It's a sequence. You do this and then you do that. And then 90 days later, you're standing in your new life. I'm going to hand you that exact sequence in a little bit. And it's not all that complicated. Anybody with two brain cells to rub together, they can run the whole thing. So if it's that simple, why do most people never go? It's because it's not actually fighting the logistics, they are fighting themselves. Let me tell you about the trap that eats most men more than anything else. I call it the waiting trap. Now, it sounds responsible. It wears a nice suit. It says things like, I just need a little bit more cushion. I just need to wait a little bit more until the timing is better. I just need a little bit more research so I'm a little bit more sure. I need to save a little bit more money, and then I'll go. And here's the thing about that voice, it never shuts up, and no amount of cushion makes it say, oh, okay, cool. No, we're good now. We can go. Because it was never about the cushion. It was never about the certainty. It was about the fear dressed up so that you wouldn't have to call it what it is. Now, I'm not insulting you. I did the same thing. Most men do. The waiting feels like wisdom until you look up at yourself. You're 10 years older. You're in the same spot. You're a little older. You're a little bit more tired, and you're telling yourself the same story. I'll go next year. Let me give you a little test that cuts right through all that nonsense. When the voice says, oh, I need another cushion, ask it one question. What exact risk is the cushion insuring against? Name it out loud. If you can name the risk, then good news. The plan I'm about to give you already handles it. It's built exactly for that. And if you cannot name it, if you sit there and you cannot actually say out loud what the money or the waiting is protecting you from, then it's not insurance, it's procrastination. And it's costing you something far more expensive than money. It's costing you the months and years of the life that you actually want. You don't get those back, by the way. Nobody refunds time. All right, so instead of just kicking in the pants and insulting you, let me give you something that's actually useful. In all the men that I've watched make this move, the ones that make it and the ones that crash, it comes down to a couple of things. The difference between them, not 100, just a few. And I'm going to give them to you. One, the men that make it, they set a real date, not someday, not next year, not whatever month, because a date turns into a plan and everything else organizes itself around that plan. The men who never pick a date never go. Every single time. Two, the guys that make it, they do all the desk work before they fly, the boring stuff. The paperwork, the documents, the professional relationship that actually matters, which is a good lawyer, by the way. They line all that up before they land. The man who does that walks in very calm. It's very easy. The transition is nice and smooth. The guy that skips it is a mess, and he spends a year getting everything together. Same move, completely different first year. Decided entirely by the work that you do at the desk before you ever get on a plane. Three. Three. They land slow. The guys that make it don't sign a lease on their first day, on the first apartment they see. They don't buy a new car in the first week. They rent a couple of months. They decide slow. They get a feel for the neighborhoods that they're going to be in. They don't actually sign a lease long term in a place that they actually haven't been in before. That first 72 hours when you land is actually the most vulnerable window of the whole thing. And the men who make it permanent, or excuse me, and the men who make permanent decisions inside of that window when they're exhausted and disoriented pay for it a lot. And four, this is the big one. The guys that actually make it don't do it themselves. Every disaster, every single time I've seen this, the money spent for land that didn't exist, the account frozen because they sent money the wrong way, the year that they burn as a perpetual tourist, every single one traces back to one man making one decision with nobody around him who had done it before. He's not a stupid man, he's just alone and doesn't know any better. That's the real difference. That's what actually matters. That is the biggest mistake, and it's completely avoidable. Now, I want to be clear about something because a lot of guys come at this from a wrong angle. They leaving their home country. It's not about running away. I'm not selling you an escape from a life that you hate. This is about advantage. There's a version of your life available in Latin America that is not available to where you are right now. More freedom, more margin, a currency that goes a lot farther, a peace that lets you breathe, a place where being who you are is an asset instead of a liability. And that's not running for something, that's walking toward something better on purpose with your eyes wide open. The men who thrived down here did not flee. I didn't run away. They relocated where the game is actually winnable for them. All right, so here's what I got for you. Down in the description, there's a link. You can go and you can download my 90-day intensive plan. It's a checklist. It's the exact sequence that I've been talking about this whole video. The first 30 days where you do the desk work before you do anything, the wind down where you lighten your load, and then the landing, the first weeks on the ground, done right, week by week, what to handle in what order, and the specific mistakes to step around. Go get it, read it, actually read it. It's a checklist all the way through so that you can see the shape of the thing. And then go back to where you actually are in this whole situation and start running that week. But I'm going to be straight with you, the same way that I've been this whole time. The plan is the map. The map is not the hard part. I told you that. The hard part is running it alone, where every small uncertainty becomes a reason to stall, and the stalling is where everything quietly dies. That's where the Unchained Circle is for. It's a private group where men get together and run the exact same plan together, where you can ask questions before you sign, not after, where you can get real answers from a guy who's standing there and getting it done, where you can watch other guys hitting the same wall that you're about to hit and how to get through it, which is the thing that keeps you moving on the days where going it alone would have stopped you cold. This is the smaller room. This is where I can be a little bit more direct and the conversations get a little spicy. And for the price of a couple of beers, you can have access to this in your inbox. Not only that, we do videos that are too spicy for YouTube and live Q&A calls with me. You already did the hard part. You decided. The man that you want to be is on the other side of 90 days of work that you already know how to do. The only question left is whether you run the play or whether you let that little voice talk you into one more year of waiting. This is your sign. Do something about it.